Hello, and welcome to the Microsoft Word tutorial on citations. I'm using Microsoft Word for Mac, version 2011, but you can also do the same thing using older versions of Microsoft Word and with the PC as well. Just your pathway is going to look a little different, your icons and the pathway I show you. You may see references at the top instead of toolbox. So we're going to have all our sources ready. You're going to add your sources one at a time so we can make our Works Cited page. And we're going to start by finding the toolbox. There's a couple different ways. There's a shortcut at the top, or you can also find it under the Documents Element tab, under References. If you open Manage, it will open your toolbox. And we're under Citations, which is the books right here. The first thing you want to look at is your citation style. For this paper in English, you're going to be using the APA style, so you can choose that there. I have just a little copy and pasted fake document I'm working on here, so this is like my research has already started. I've already started doing my writing, and now I've gotten to the point when I want to add my sources. There's a couple different ways. Under the settings gear down here, you can go to Source Manager, and this will show you, this is all the sources, a master list of other papers I might have done if I ever used this before. Everything you add on this computer you can add to your master list. What you're going to use today for your project is going to be on your current list. But this is good information to know because if you ever use a source for more than one paper, maybe next year that might come in handy, just know if it's on your computer and you've saved it, you can add it to the master list as well. So I can make a new source here, or I can use a little shortcut. I prefer the shortcut. You can use the plus sign. And once I add it, it's going to default to the last type of source that I used. So I have all these different choices, but I'm going to start with book. Since you all used the Lincoln on Leadership book as your first source for this paper, we're going to start there. You can see your recommended fields has the asterisk, so the ones that you really should make sure you include, and then you can also add extra information. Alright, just a reminder that if you did use Destiny and you put items on your list, once you log in, it's kept my list. So here under my library materials, I have the book Lincoln on Leadership. So remember, I can just press go and my citation is done. And then I can see, I can make sure, remember this is the MLA format, so it might not have everything I need, but I can check by looking and seeing and copying and pasting instead of having to type. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll start with Donald Phillips as the author. The title, I prefer to copy and paste, so I'm going to come back over here. Not a very fast typer, so I can paste it in there. The other is short, so I'm going to go ahead and type it, New York. I can tab or I can click to the next one, which is Publisher, Warner Books. The year, 1992. And that's all that's actually required. And if you look, each box that you click in, it actually gives you an example at the bottom. If you're like, well, what does that mean? What's the volume? Or it will actually give you a little example of what it's looking for. Most of it is self-explanatory. So I'm going to click OK. And there's my first source. It's in my citation list, and it's going to stay there for now. But if you look in your paper, actually where my cursor was, it automatically added the parenthetical citation. And there you see the author's last name and the year, just the way you're required to have it. But I want to show you that you can edit the citation at any time. Remember, this is the citation inside your paper. This is your source or your citation list. So if I click on this arrow, I can say edit this citation. Maybe next time you might need to use a page number for a reference, so you could add the page number. Maybe you want to suppress, that means to hide. Maybe you didn't need the year at another time. I just want to show you all the features. But for this paper, it's exactly how it should be with the author's name and date and year, so you can just leave it as is. If you ever change your mind and you don't want to use it there anymore, all you have to do is highlight and delete, and it's gone. But remember, if you do want it, oh, this is where I had it. This is where I referred to it. All you have to do is double click and it adds it automatically. All right, so that was our book. The next one I want to add is actually from a website, but when I looked at it more closely, it's actually a document or article from the website. So look that you have those two choices and decide, look at your reference, look at your source, and see which it is. So if I choose document from website, you can see how your recommended fields changes depending on what type of source you have. And I know with a lot of the websites it's hard to find the author. So let's go back to Destiny, just because I found my website through Destiny. Remember my website tab. This is the article I found. It was actually from the University of Pennsylvania.edu, so I know it was a reputable place, and besides the fact I got it through Destiny. So if I look at my citation, remember we said this comes up in MLA. It might not match exactly what you need, but I know it asks for the URL. I just saw that, so let me copy that part. I can go back to Word and I can paste it in. It's always going to ask for that URL. But, whoopsies, it might ask you for information that's not on the citation list. So I might have to go back to that article. So let's try that again. Copy and paste. That looks better. All right, so if I go back to the article, because I couldn't find an author, I can also use the organization as an author. And so what is the organization here? It's Knowledge at Wharton. It's actually the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. So I can use that information in my citation. If you look here, author as organization, I didn't have a person's name, but I know it's from the school. It might have been a group of professors. Or if it was a student, they might not want to give the student credit or put it on the website. So I'm going to use the organization as my author. All right, the name of the website was Knowledge at Wharton. That's the web page. The website is actually the University of Pennsylvania. All right, what else do I have that's an asterisk? The year. Now look carefully, because this is the year of the article itself. And when I looked at it, it had right at the top, it was 2010, November 23rd. Now here it has the year that's accessed. And of course, I can use today's date if I look back at it, or if you ever do the citation, it will automatically freeze the date that you looked at it. And so we'll just use today, which is 2013. April, and today is the 24th. So now I have all my information that I need, and I can click OK. Now remember, it puts it automatically where my cursor was, and of course I don't want it there because I just had a reference there. So I can just delete it. But now I have my source here. Now remember, I said you could go back and edit it if you don't know the date, if you need to go back and check your source, you don't have the URL today. You can always edit it by highlighting it here. Look at your setting, and there you can edit the source. And that'll bring the box back up where you can go back and make your editing. And oh, it was the wrong date, or I can make any changes that I want to, and click OK. Now to take my source off my list, say I decided, of course I can't take the book off, everybody used that, but I decided, oh, I don't want to use this website anymore. I changed my mind, I'm not putting that information in my paper. I can delete it easily here by using the minus sign, but I want to show you something I found out. If I've already used it in my paper, I'm saying, okay, this information came from this source. Microsoft Word actually will not let you delete it because you already used it in your paper. So if you change your mind, you don't want to use it anymore, you have to take the source out of your paper, or it will not let you delete the source, which makes sense. So if you decide you're going to take some information out of your paper and you just want to delete it, you can do that. By deleting the source first, and then now you can see the minus sign appears. I don't want to delete it because I want to keep it there for my, that was just as an example. All right, so if I want to make changes, we reviewed that. We can edit it. If we want to delete or add, we can do that. Now I'm going to show you, you have your paper, you have your parenthetical references, you can double click to put them in. Now how do I do my works cited page? Well, first you need a page break. You need a clean page because you want to start with a new page. So you can return or space until you get down to a new page. And now you want to look at here. We were doing manage. Now you want to look over here at bibliography. You actually have two choices. You have bibliography and works cited. We're going to do a works cited page. So once I click it, it's going to take all my sources that I added on my citation list and automatically add it to the page. This actually changed the type of page into a works cited page. I have to put this space in. Word processing is a great thing, but for some reason it's not putting a space between my sources. So okay, I've only added 2 sources. I have 2 sources. Now, I've decided I want to go back and add something. I also used a magazine. So let me come back. I'm going to add a new source. I want to change it at the top. This was an article. Oh, let's see. I have a periodical and a journal. Well, if you remember, periodical is another word for magazine. It means it's printed periodically, like weekly or monthly. And that's usually the ones you can find maybe at the supermarket, Walmart. It's on the shelf, Newsweek, Time. A journal is going to be more available to educators, to professors, to teachers, and you're not really going to find it on the shelf at Walmart. So that's the difference. If you have a question, you can ask Ms. Reamer. I'm going to say article in a periodical because actually I found a great article on Grolier from Newsweek. And my author is Sydney Blumenthal. The title is Lincoln Plays to Win. The periodical title was Newsweek. The year is 2012. The month was October. Day 22nd. I'm going to go ahead and fill, even though there's not an asterisk here, I have the volume, which is 160. I have the issue, 17, and the page numbers was 32 to 38. So you can add extra information there. All right, so I'm going to click OK. Now I have my magazine added. Where would I like to cite it? I added some more information. Okay, I referenced it here. So I can double click it there, and it automatically adds it for me. And you notice the difference, like when it was a website, the parenthetical citation looks a little bit different. I actually clicked it twice. It looks a little different than the book and then the magazine. All right, so I added a source, but now if I look down at my works cited page, well, what happened here? Why does it look like that? Because that's where my cursor was, and that's where it automatically added my parenthetical citation. But I want it in my works cited page. All you have to do is click. There's your little arrow, and you want to update it. So anytime you add a source, you can just update it. And now you see that it's adding them in alphabetical order by author. So there, it added it in the middle. And that is how you do your works cited page.